G'day guys, welcome to today's video. I hope you're really enjoying TBC so far. It's been out just under a week now. I'm thoroughly enjoying it, really enjoying grouping up with guildies, doing some quests, doing some dungeon grinds. I feel like with an expansion release, the community comes a little bit closer, guildies come a little bit closer. I'm currently level 67, so looking forward to starting my Kara achievement and getting into some proper raids, doing some heroics, start chipping away at that pre-bis list. But with TBC almost out for a week now, that also means we're 1 week closer to the arena season. So if you didn't know, the arena season has been confirmed to start on the 14th. And with that being said, that means we need to start casting our eyes forward. We've done all our prep for our questing. We've all sort of found a rhythm with that. We feel like we're pretty comfortable now, but now let's start to think about arena. Who you're going to start playing with. You're going to go 2v2, you're going to go 3v3. Are your professions in order? Do you need to start leveling up your engineering? Do you need to start getting those blacksmithing weapons? So in today's video, we're going to run through all of that. I'm going to give you some tips and some advice on how to get started if you're new to arena. But I won't spoil anything, so make sure you stick around for the video. And without any further ado, let's get into it. So this is sort of the first big one, and it kind of goes without saying, but leveling to 70 is your first priority. If you didn't know, you need to be level 70 to get into the arena. And if you're sort of strapped for time and you feel like you're not going to make that 14th of June date, maybe consider how you can streamline your processes. Are you investing too much time in professionals? Are you putting too much time into dungeon grinding? Keep in mind, if your goal is strictly PvP, maybe you are better off just questing. Questing is slightly faster, I've been finding. The dungeon XP is much lower than I expected. So you don't need all those heroic keys straight away. You don't need all your reps up. Push for that level 70 as quick as you can if your goal is to strictly PvP. But if you're not, and you feel like you can get a nice balance going, go for that. But just remember, you do need to be level 70 to join in the arena. Another one is finding partners. If you can avoid it, don't pug, and don't troll through looking for a group, looking for your very first partner. I feel like you're probably destined for disappointment that way. LFG can be notorious for all kinds of things, and I think it'll be filled with 2800 XP Holy Paladin looking for similar XP partner, and you just never know. You can't link achievements, so like you're gonna have to trust people, and I think you're just bound to be disappointed. So ask around for some guildies, talk to some retail friends, but start sowing the seeds now, chatting to some people, seeing what they're interested in. Obviously, some people will have done TBC private servers for years. Maybe people are coming in from retail and they've got their partners sorted. Nice one. You're super prepared. This is sort of more for people who are completely new to WoW, coming from Classic. Definitely start asking around if people have partners. If I can give my recommendation for a partner, you're going to want someone who's like-minded. Are you strictly just, want to get your 10 games in? And you don't care win or lose, you just want your 10 games in so you can get your points? Or is it to get glad? Is it to get 1800? Is it to get weapon rating? Make sure when you start talking to people, you find the right person to fit, what you're after. Find someone who's like-minded, and you are bound to find someone who's looking for something similar to you. And you won't have any of that friction whether you're just looking to play 10 games, but your partner really, you'd actually like to push rating to get a weapon. So find someone with a similar goal in mind. Secondly, a good attitude. This cannot be undervalued enough. You want someone that you get along with. You want someone who has a good attitude, isn't going to rage quit and flame, someone who isn't particularly toxic. A big thing with arena is losses are bound to happen, and what separates a good team from a bad team is people can take a loss on the chin, they can talk about what went wrong, and they can bounce back the next time, talk about strategy, talk about what went wrong, feelings throughout the game? Did you feel like once you lost Trinket, you really needed your arena partner to play a little bit closer to you, play a little bit more defensive? You need to be able to chat through it constructively without blaming one another for a loss. Another one is skill level. This one might be a little bit overlooked, but someone who's a good raider, this is coming from Classic. Obviously, a lot of people have come from Classic, and just because someone is a good raider doesn't make them a good PvP partner. And that doesn't mean someone's a good raider can't also be a good arena partner, but have a chat to people. Do they have arena experience? It is a totally different ball game. I can't stress that enough. You can get by in raiding with clicking abilities, with keyboard turning to a certain extent, but that stuff's not going to fly in arena, and I think a lot of people are going to get in for a bit of a rude awakening. So if you feel like, I like this guy, I know he's going to make a good arena partner, and I know he's capable, be sure that you're going to be patient enough to build that player up. There's going to be a lot of things that they're learning at once. When you step into the arena the first time, it's like, I can't possibly take all this in and notice what's going on. I can't track people's cooldowns, I can't track their trinkets, and it all comes with experience and time. So make sure you're being patient enough and building up the team as you go. Personally, I think I'm going to start with 2v2. Don't get me wrong, I've done a lot of arena over the course of my entire WoW journey. I played many seasons through retail, from Waddle K all the way through to Warlords of Draenor. But I think it's important to start small, gauge your character power, gauge the damage levels. This is relatively uncharted waters in terms of the meta of a larger sample size. Obviously, TBC private servers have been tried and true, but to the extent and the scale that we're seeing now, it's relatively, there's a small area here where the meta might shift. So I want to see people's strengths, I want to see my partner's strengths, I want to see my strengths, I want to see my weaknesses, and I want to understand my limitations of my character power before I go adding in more players and more difficulty in the 3v3 bracket. Another one is leveling your professions. Obviously, certain professions give you an advantage in the arena, particularly engineering and blacksmithing. Blacksmithing, you obviously get access to Dragonmaw, you get access to Lionheart Champion, Storm Herald, all these really powerful weapons that you can get first week of the arena. Start looking ahead. You might not be getting into Kara this week, you might not get into Kara the second week. So if you want a weapon early, if you're a melee and physical damage dealer, it might be worth getting that early Dragonmaw. I know I'm a rogue. The likelihood of me getting a Spite Blade ahead of time, pretty small. I think I'm going to test the waters and see how I go week 1 of Arena. If I find I'm just getting absolutely destroyed by similar comps purely on just because I don't have a Dragonmaw and they do, maybe it's time to start thinking about making that shift over. Ideally, I'd like to not have to go blacksmithing. But worst case scenario, I think I'll pick up engineering and blacksmithing. Engineering obviously is great for rogues, which I play. That's stealth detection. I play Horde, so I don't have access to perception like a human would. So getting that advantage in the opener when I'm stealth and another team is stealth and I've got the engineering goggles, my stealth detection will be greater than theirs. And everyone knows, and if you don't know, the opener, getting a good opener really sets the pace for the match, and you then you dictate the pace of the game from there. Another thing to keep in mind is, I imagine this one. Sorry to interrupt the video, but as I was editing, I realized that I missed out on a few key items that I didn't want to skip out on, and I want to make sure you guys know about. So obviously for engineering, there's the Nigh Invulnerability Belt. It's cloth and it does a 5,000 damage absorb. And it's on a 5-minute cooldown, and the rocket boots as well, which are awesome. They're on a 5-minute cooldown. They come in, both of these come in cloth, and there's also a leather version of the boots, so anybody can wear them. 5 minutes is actually a pretty good cooldown for an item like this. I would imagine early on in the season with no resilience, games will be quite quick, but you might find a few healer DPS matchups, you might get a second use out of these. So definitely worth keeping front of mind. There's also leatherworking stuff like Primal Strike. It's good. It costs a lot to get. So I wouldn't go investing heaps into this. If you're getting it incidentally, great. But ideally in the long run, you'll want some of that arena gear and the battleground gear or the honor gear, just for the resilience. Same goes for stuff like the Spell Strike, Primal Mooncloth, Shadow Weave. It's good, but it's not great. So that's all. I'll get back to the video. Pick up back half of next week Battlegrounds. I'm sure we'll start picking up again. Start thinking about some honor gear that you might want. Some early resilience will really do you well, especially when there will be no resilience in the first week. No one will have access to that kind of gear. So getting that early PvP trinket that has the resilience on it will be a nice advantage that you can get now and come in with day one. Evaluating your UI add-ons is a great one that you can start now, get used to them, and prepare ahead. You're going to have heaps of new abilities. You should start thinking about macros, targeting macros. It's important to get these locked away and decided on your bars as early as possible. You can start using them now. You can start using them in WoW PvP and getting familiar with them. Once you hit 70, you'll be much more comfortable using them in an arena environment. If you don't know, I've got a macro guide coming. Hoping to get that out to you before Arena, so you guys can check that one out and put into practice what I explained to you. I'll cover focus macros, I'll cover targeting macros, shift modifiers, help and harm macros, so stick around for that one. And the other one, which I recommend, is practice and research. This might sound very sweaty, but for the sweatier folks here and the people who want to push for rating and taking this a little bit more seriously, this is not aimed at the 10 game a week players who are just after points. This is for people trying to push rating. Practice. Practice is key, and everyone knows practice makes perfect. So getting stuck into some world PvP now, battlegrounds, duels, especially those who are boosting characters or have boosted characters and might be experienced in one class but not the other. Duel as much as you can, get familiar about your scenarios, what your character power and other classes' character powers against you more specifically. Combine this with research. Be critical of your gameplay, and I would recommend watching a few pros. You can start modeling and learning off some of the greats of each of your classes, throwing out names like, if you're a priest player, watch some Hydra videos. Hydra is an absolute legend when it comes to healing priests. Rogues, you can look at Wooman, you can look at Neilyo, you can look at Refel. Warriors, you can look at Hoodrych. The list goes on. But start looking up at those PvP videos and seeing the skill ceiling. Pick up a few tips and tricks along the way. And I will put down my favorite PvP videos for each class down below, so you can check out if you feel like you don't really know who to YouTube and or what to look for. Check in the description and I'll link you some videos. Something that will come after Arena comes out, and again, this is for the people taking this very seriously, is start recording your games. Something that I'll be doing, and I would recommend for people who are looking to push rating, is record your games, and maybe the day after, maybe after your queuing session, the days following, get your Discord, get your partner in your Discord, and share your screen and go through some of that footage, go through some of those losses. I would recommend going through the losses more so than the victories, but definitely go through the losses, see when the pace started to turn, when your advantage started to dissipate, and be critical, talk to your partner, be very open with your communication, point out some key landmarks in the games. This is where we lost Trinket. Do you feel like when you lost Trinket, should we have retreated back? Should we wait some more? How could we win this scenario? What could we do differently? Every pro and every esport professional, every professional basketball athlete they'll go through the tapes and they'll analyze what they did right and what they did wrong. Anybody who is somebody does this, and if you're trying to push 1800, you're trying to push Gladiator, Duelist, Rank 1, this is the defining difference between a good player and a great player. That's it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope I've given you some food for thought and some preparations ahead. Remember, get to 70 as quick as you can. Find partners, level those professions, evaluate your UI, and I cannot stress enough, practice makes perfect, and put in the hard yards, and you will reap those rewards. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.